ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता साधका संजीवनी 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge, verses 20 to 25. Worship with and without an interested motive with fruit. After describing the ways of the fools and the devotees, now in the next two verses, the Lord describes the ways of the enjoyment seekers who, having a discrimination for God, perform sacrifice, etc. in order to reap their fruit. Therefore, they repeatedly come and go. Verse 20. Traividhya mam somapaha uta papa yagyer ishtva swargatim prarthyante te punyam asadhya surendra lokam ashnanti devyan devi deva bhogan. Those who perform actions with some interested motive as laid down in the three Vedas and drink the sap of Soma plant and thus purged of sin, worshipping me as Indra by sacrifices, pray to seek access to heaven, attaining Indra's paradise as a result of their good deeds, enjoy the celestial pleasure of the gods. Comment. The worldly people are generally engaged in worldly pleasures. There are others who, attaching value to perishable objects, aspire for the heavenly pleasures and so perform actions with a selfish motive as laid down in the three Vedas for them. With the view to attain heaven, they sing hymns in praise of Indra and beg of him residence in heaven. Both are prayers. As a reward of the performance of Vedic and Puranic rituals, they get celestial enjoyments. Those heavenly pleasures are far more charming and singular than those of the mortal world. There they enjoy 5 sense objects of sound, touch, form, taste and smell. Moreover, they also enjoy other luxuries, honor and glory, etc. Soma is a plant about which it is said that in the bright half of a lunar month, every day on it, one leaf sprouts forth, and up to the full moon day, there are 15 leaves, while in the dark half of a lunar month, every day, one leaf falls, and in 15 days, all the leaves fall. Those who perform religious sacrifice purify the sap of Soma plant with Vedic sacred formulas and then drink it. Thus, they are purged of those sins which are obstacles to heavenly enjoyments. Verse 21. Te tam bhuktva swarga lokam vishalam kshine punyai martya lokam vishanti evam trai dharmam anuprapanna gata gatam kama kama labhante. Having enjoyed the extensive heavenly world, they return to the world of mortals on the exhaustion of their merits. Thus, taking recourse to action with interested motive, enjoined by the three Vedas and seeking worldly enjoyments, they repeatedly go and come. Comment. The heavenly world has been called extensive because it is vast. There the age is longer and pleasures are in abundance. Those who want to go to heaven, instead of depending on God, depend on the actions with interested motive enjoined by the three Vedas. They go to heaven and are obliged to return to this world after their merits run out. Here again, they acquire merits and thus the wheel of going and coming back revolves. But what about those who depend only on the Lord? Their position is explained by the Lord in the next verse. Verse 22. Ananyashchintyanto mam ye janaha parupaste tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. To those men who worship me alone, thinking of no one else, who are ever devout, I provide gain and security. Comment. Those who admit that the entire universe is the Lord's manifestation and all the activities and changes are His sport don't attach importance to anything else besides the Lord, because everything except the Lord is perishable. They have no desire even for the maintenance of their bodies, so they have an exclusive devotion for Him. Whatever action, moving, eating, drinking, or talking, etc., they perform is in order to please God. On account of regarding the Lord as loving and glorious, the memory of the Lord in devotees is constant and natural. These devotees are called Ananya, exclusively devoted, because for them the Lord is both the means and the end. They have a firm conviction that they have to take refuge in God only. They have to adore and think of Him only, and they have to attain Him only. They don't harbor any other desire except that of the Lord. Yoga means the provision of the means required, and Kshema means security of what has been provided. But the fact is that yoga means either to attain or not to attain to the needs of devotees, because the Lord is the disinterested friend of devotees. So He remains engrossed in their welfare. So He provides only those means which are useful for their welfare. Similarly, He protects what has been provided only if its security is a means in their spiritual progress. Otherwise, He will destroy it. Destruction of harmful thing is kshema, security. Therefore, His devout devotees remain pleased and satisfied in all circumstances, because they believe that those circumstances have been created by God's will, and so they will enable them to attain salvation. They become puppets in the hands of the Lord, and God's will becomes their will. In fact, yoga means affinity with God, and Kshema means salvation. From this viewpoint, the Lord strengthens a devotee's affinity with Him and tries to lead him to salvation. It means that the devotee should be free from any care for gain and security. After explaining the position of those devotees who depend only on the Lord, He describes in the next verse those devotees who worship other gods. Verse 23. ये अप्यान्या देवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धान्वितः ते अपि मामेव कान्त्या यजन्त्या विधिपूर्वकम्. Even those devotees who, endowed with faith, worship other gods, worship me alone, O son of Kunti, though not in accordance with rules. Comment. These devotees who have not realized that the Lord is all being and non-being worship other gods because they think that other gods are apart from and independent of Him, and by their grace they will gain everything. The devotees who worship other gods actually worship Him, God, because in the whole universe there is nothing besides Him. Therefore, their worship to other gods is worship to Him only, but that is not in accordance with rules. Here, it does not mean that they don't possess knowledge. What sort of worship materials, what sacred text should be used, and what sort of worship should be done. But it means that they regard other gods separate from the Lord. They worship other gods because their wisdom has been led astray by desires. But the fact is that whatever power the other gods have, it has come to them from the Lord, and so it is only His power. It means that if a devotee worships any deity regarding him as the Lord, without having any desire for fruit, that will be worship to God, and it will lead him to God realization. Secondly, if he worships the Lord with a desire, he will be regarded as a devotee, the seeker of worldly objects, the sufferer, etc., whom the Lord has called noble. In fact, all is God. So every kind of worship, service, and good offered to others is only an offering to God. As rainwater in the form of stream, river and waterfall, etc., flows into the sea, because that water comes from the sea and belongs to the sea. Whomsoever a devotee worships, he worships only God. But why is their worship not in accordance with rules? The explanation comes. Verse 24. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhakta cha prabhur eva cha na tu mam abhijananti tatvena taschyavanti te. I am verily the enjoyer of all sacrifices and I am the Lord, but they don't know me in reality, hence they fall. Comment. The Lord is the enjoyer. What does it mean? The Lord is declared, a great soul realizes that all this is God, and in my view, I am being and non-being both. It means that when a devotee performs virtuous actions such as sacrifice, charity, penance, or provides food to the hungry, helps the destitute, waters plants, feeds dogs and sparrows, etc., all of them are enjoyed by the Lord because it is He who has manifested himself in different forms. Thus, a devotee serves the Lord only with all these articles offered to the hungry, the needy, and to anyone else in his universal form. The Lord is the enjoyer of all whatsoever is offered to him in diverse forms. How is he the Lord? Devotees regard God as the Lord of the higher and the lower nature. He is the master of the entire universe, and so he is free in creating, preserving, destroying, conducting, and enjoying this entire universe, and also in bringing about any change in it. Thus, he is the Lord. In fact, the Lord is the real, the unreal, the sentient, and the insentient all. So he is the enjoyer and the Lord of all the things, etc. But those who don't know this fact think that if they offer food or water to creatures, it is received by them and so they are the enjoyers. But actually, the real enjoyer is the Lord. So without beholding the Lord in different manifestations, they fall. Therefore, every person should regard the Lord as the enjoyer. Thus, whatever is offered to anyone should be offered only to him, knowing it to be his. Secondly, all the worldly pleasures and prosperity are the Lord's and are for the service of the Lord, who has manifested himself in the form of the universe. But people attached to pleasures and propriety by considering them their own think that they are their master, but actually they become slaves to them because by depending on them they regard them as part and parcel of their life while they are different from them. Thus they fall. But if they know the fact that God is the enjoyer and the Lord of all the sacrifices, they are liberated. The Lord in the next verse describes the relative destinies of different devotees who worship other deities with an interested motive. Verse 25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitrin yanti pitri vrataha bhutani yanti bhuteja yanti madhyajino apimam. Those who worship the gods with self-interest go to the gods after death. Those who worship the mains reach the mains. Those who adore the evil spirits reach the evil spirits. But those who worship me attain me alone. Comment. Those who don't know really about the Lord but hanker after worldly pleasures and prosperity worship other gods, following rites relating to them. Those gods carry their devotees to their abode, but they have to return from there because all the worlds from the abode of Brahma downwards are subject to return. Those who want their desires to be satisfied worship the mains by regarding them their favorite deity. But the greatest desire that can be satisfied by the mains is that they can take their devotees to their abode. The persons possessing the mode of ignorance, darkness, worship the spirits and ghosts to fulfill their worldly desires. They worship spirits at night on the cremation ground with meat and wine and incantations, etc. Their maximum benefit is that those evil spirits can fulfill their worldly desires, but after death they reach the spirits, that is, become evil spirits. Those who think of me and worship me with exclusive devotion attain me certainly. An important fact. Those who worship other gods, mains and spirits, etc. for worldly pleasures and prosperity have to go to hells or to follow the cycle of birth and death in 84 lack forms of lives. In human birth, by having affinity of love with God, they could be a source of bliss to Him. But being engrossed in mean worldly desires, they adore petty gods, means and evil spirits, and get entangled in the vicious circle. Therefore, they should devote themselves only to God very cautiously. If they worship the Lord, they can attain Him. Or if they worship them, regarding them as the manifestation of the Lord without the desire for the fruit of worship, they can attain Him. Regarding them as separate from the Lord and having a desire for fruit, these are the two cases of downfall. The birth as evil spirits is very filthy and impure, and so is their worship. So those who worship spirits have a sure downfall because they can never behold them as the manifestation of God, nor can serve them without a selfish motive. There is an anecdote. There was a man who worshipped a female spirit called Karna. She, when under the control of someone, is said to reveal to him all secrets. When anyone went to him to get the answer of his question, he could know the question and could answer it. Someone wanted to know the secret. He said that he applied stool to his ear, and with the help of Karna, a female spirit, he could know the question and the answer. But at the time of his death, he wanted to run to the bank of the river Narmada so that he could attain salvation. But that female evil spirit presented herself as a female hog and killed him. Thus, she took him to her abode. So the worship of spirits is forbidden. But the strivers can offer oblation of food and water to the evil spirits and ghosts so that they may be liberated from the life of evil spirits. Even saints and great souls have done so. Om Tat Sat. All glories to Sri Partha Sarthi, Lord Shri Krishna. All glories to Bhagavad Vani, SrimadbhagvadGeeta. Sri Hari Arpanamastu.